My boyfriend's ex-girlfriend had a car accident, and her memory stopped at the year they were madly in love. To help her regain her memory, they rekindled their romance at my engagement party, kissing passionately in the rain while driving my convertible. But they hit and killed a pedestrian. Naturally, my boyfriend ordered me to take the blame and pay compensation for his ex-girlfriend. He said Diana couldn't handle any more shocks. I responded lightly, "Oh, she can't handle it? Then you deal with it yourself." After all, the one they killed was his own mother. Chapter 1. You shameless homewrecker. Give me back my Leo. On the day of my engagement party, while I was still basking in the sweet atmosphere of finally getting what I wanted, I turned around to see a woman in a hospital gown suddenly burst through the door. She pointed at me and started cursing. It was Leo's ex-girlfriend, Diana. Before I could react, Diana rushed forward and slapped me hard across the face. She yanked my hair violently. "You be *TCH. How dare you seduce a man away from me?" I was completely stunned. When I came to my senses, her other hand was already reaching to tear off my clothes. *T. Don't you love seducing men? Let me see just how filthy you are. Leo! In my panic, I instinctively shouted Leo's name. Only then did he snap out of it, pushing Diana away and shielding me behind him. "We broke up a long time ago. Why are you even here?" Looking at his sulky expression, I felt a complex mix of emotions. But Diana, upon hearing this, burst into tears right in front of Leo. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as she looked at him. "Leo, you just proposed to me yesterday, and today you're with this sly fox?" She then flaunted the ring on her hand, the one that men are only allowed to buy once in their lifetime. I remembered Leo telling me just a few days ago that his slot had been used up by his scummy brother. Turns out, he lied to me. That ring was now on Diana's finger. A wave of bitterness welled up inside me as I looked at it. She sniffed hard, as if she were about to break apart. Then she raised her hand and slapped Leo across the face. "You scumbag!" Leo was caught off guard by the slap, frowning. "Are you out of your mind?" But when he noticed the hospital gown she was wearing, he hesitated for a moment. It was as if he suddenly realized something, and he walked over to her with a smile. He reached out to wipe away her tears. "All right. Stop crying. It won't look good if you keep crying. Haven't I already prepared an engagement party for you?" He glanced at the untouched food on the table. Then, holding Diana's hand, he led her to the table and thoughtfully pulled out the seat at the head of the table for her. Only then did Diana stop crying, but she glared at me angrily. "Then who is she?" "She's..." Leo glanced at me instinctively but couldn't meet my eyes. "She's just an actress I hired. I didn't want to get nervous, so I hired someone to practice." Seeing the evasiveness in his eyes, a fire ignited within me, burning so fiercely that I could hardly breathe. With a cold smile, I said, "That's right. I'm just an actress." After he wrapped his arm around Diana's shoulders and said, "Everyone here, please be my witness. Diana will be my wife from now on." He left the room without looking back. "Diana, be good. I'll go pay her." Amid the congratulations of friends and family, Leo affectionately ruffled Diana's hair and chased after me. He grabbed my arm. "Chloe, you saw it. Diana has amnesia." As I met his serious gaze, I suddenly felt a wave of indifference. "Don't blame her. She means no harm. She just loves me too much. I don't want her to be too sad. We'll reschedule the engagement party. Once I help her regain her memory, she'll naturally accept reality. Diana has never been unreasonable. So, the engagement party would be rescheduled after all." After saying that, he deliberately raised his voice toward the room. "I've already paid the balance. You can leave now." And then Diana's playful voice followed. "Give her another 100. She acted pretty well." I felt a lump form in my throat, my nails digging into my palms. After a delayed pause, I managed to mutter, "All right." As I turned to leave, Leo snatched the keys to my convertible from my hand. He weighed them in his hand, flashing me a knowing smile. "Diana's never ridden in a convertible. I'll take her for a spin later." And on the way back, I saw something that made my heart stop. On the day of our engagement party, my fiancé, driving my convertible, was passionately kissing his ex-girlfriend in the rain. How absurd. While I was still staring at the direction where they disappeared, unable to calm myself, I received a call from Leo's father. The old man's voice trembled, choking up for a long time before he finally spoke. Chloe, where are you and Leo? Why can't I reach him on his phone? Your mother-in-law had a car accident. She's in the hospital right now, being resuscitated. The doctor says it doesn't look good. Chapter 2. After hearing the news, I hurriedly offered a few words of comfort to the old man, then turned and called Leo, but his phone was off. Helpless, I flagged down a taxi and rushed to the hospital ahead of him. By the time I reached the floor Leo's father had told me about, the sound of crying echoed throughout the hallway. I saw Leo's father sitting on the ground, weeping uncontrollably. I was about to step forward to comfort him, when he shot me a red-eyed glare. Why are you only getting here now? His face quivered with rage as he pointed a finger at me, shouting, "Aren't you supposed to be rich? Why didn't you get here earlier and take your mother-in-law to a better hospital? How could she?" As he spoke, he clenched his fists, beating his chest in agony, shaking his head repeatedly. As for your marriage to Leo, maybe it's better to just call it off. I couldn't help but think back to when I first started dating Leo. Just because I was 3 years older than Leo, he and his mother made every effort to make things difficult for me. In response, I would always bring gifts to visit them during every holiday. I even busied myself around their house like a daughter-in-law. I thought my sincerity would be enough to win them over, but they didn't even bother showing up for the engagement party. And now, they wanted to blame me for the pain of losing a wife. I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of coldness, but I wasn't about to argue with an old man, especially since he had just lost his wife. So, I turned and spoke to the police officer handling the case to get the details. The accident had occurred not far from the hotel where Leo and I were hosting our engagement party. Leo's mother had been on her way to pick up some leftover food, but she was struck by a speeding car and thrown far away. Despite the hospital's best efforts, she died from her injuries. As he spoke, the police officer pulled up a piece of surveillance footage from the scene. Due to the car's excessive speed, the camera wasn't able to capture the license plate of the vehicle involved. However, we believe we'll be able to identify the driver soon through other surveillance networks. As I watched the light blue convertible speed through the frame, my eyelid twitched, especially when I noticed that there were 2 people in the car, a man and a woman. A bad feeling began to rise within me, and with just one glance, I recognized the jacket worn by the man in the passenger seat. It was the one I, as a fashion designer, had personally created for Leo for our engagement party. Every stitch and thread had passed through my hands. How could I not recognize it? Even so, I convinced myself that I must have been seeing things. After all, to my knowledge, Diana had never managed to get her driver's license. She's a fool. She's failed the test at least 10 times. When Leo said this, he probably didn't even realize that a flicker of nostalgia had flashed in his eyes. It upset me so much that I sulked for an entire day. It wasn't until he snuck off to buy me a huge bouquet of Ecuadorian roses that I finally forgave him and let him back into the room. Collecting my thoughts, just as I was thinking that even Leo wouldn't be foolish enough to let Diana drive now, I got a call from Leo. His voice was more panicked than I'd ever heard. "Chloe, something happened with me and Diana. It seems like we hit someone and died." Chapter 3. Just as Leo finished speaking, I heard Diana's sobs coming through the phone. "Dear, I think I really killed someone. What should we do? Should we go back and check? Am I going to jail?" Then I heard Leo's hoarse voice, full of affection, comforting her. "It's okay. I'm here for you." The sound made me feel sick to my stomach. I spoke coldly. "So, what now?" Leo choked up for a while before ordering me in a self-righteous tone. "Take a cab here right now and take the blame for Diana. With your status, this small matter shouldn't be a problem for you. But Diana is different. She can't handle any more stress." I was stunned for a moment. I never imagined such nonsense could come out of Leo's mouth. In his eyes, killing someone is a small matter? It's true, when it comes to the person you love, people can regress to having zero intelligence. Like a monkey, he kept repeating that he was there for her. But the best plan he could come up with was for me to take the fall? What a perfect little scheme he'd cooked up. I replied with a flat "oh." Perhaps I was too dismissive. Because Leo suddenly got angry. He started yelling at me over the phone. "Chloe, what's with your attitude? It's just asking you to take the blame. Do you have to be so sarcastic about it?" I couldn't help but laugh in disbelief. With a smirk, I asked him mockingly, "Why don't you take the blame then? You were sitting in the passenger seat. Wouldn't it be more convenient for you to take the fall?" Leo was stunned by my response and replied incredulously, "Is this how much you love me? Making your fiancé take the blame for you? Take the blame for me? So now it's my fault that Diana killed someone?" I really have no idea how blind I must have been to fall for a man like him. I was so furious I snapped back at him instinctively. "Do you even know who you killed? It was your mother." To my shock, Leo actually laughed. "How did I not see you were this kind of person before? Selfish and inconsiderate. And now you're even cursing my mom. I think I need to seriously reconsider our relationship." Whatever. I barely held back from screaming at him in the hospital and quickly hung up. I turned and was about to leave the hospital, but Leo's father grabbed me from behind. "Leaving so soon? Even though you and Leo are done, you were together once. You still have to pay the compensation and funeral costs for my wife. And we're going to pick the most expensive cemetery. Your mother-in-law isn't used to cheap graves. The urn has to be made of golden enamel wood. As for the compensation," I cut him off with a smile. "Go ahead. How much do you think would be appropriate? 3 million? No, 5 million. He immediately held up 5 fingers. "And that's me being generous. I haven't even counted my son's breakup fee." Just as he finished, I turned to the police officer who was standing nearby with a frown. "Officer, in this situation, can I file extortion charges?" Seeing the officer nod and start walking toward us, Leo's father released me, giving me a hard shove. "It's my son's bad luck for falling for such a heartless ingrate. Get lost. Don't dirty my sight anymore." The officer glanced at me, smirking. "You should avoid marrying into a family like this. Thanks for the concern." I nodded politely. "We're already breaking up." I sent a message to Leo that I had already written out, but I hadn't expected that just as I reached the stairwell, I ran straight into the two of them, Leo and Diana, arriving late and looking frantic. Chapter 4. Dear, I'm so scared. Diana, pale-faced, clung to Leo. Leo, his fingers trembling, kept reassuring her, "Don't be scared. We're just here to check. What if the person isn't dead? At most, we'll just pay for the medical bills. It's just medical expenses. Chloe can afford it. Besides, no one knows we're the ones who hit them. We'll just say we were passing by and decided to help." Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh. So this is what they mean by being generous with someone else's money. Leo froze when he caught sight of me. "Chloe, what are you doing here? You actually had the nerve to follow me to the hospital?" He suspiciously peeked around, looking behind me. Then, with a confused expression, he asked, "Dad, why are you at the hospital too?" But before his father could respond, Leo noticed the police officers in the distance, and his face turned ashen. Diana also shrieked in panic. "Why are the police here? Could it be that they already know about us?" Before she could finish her sentence, Leo quickly covered her mouth with his hand. He shot me a vicious glare. "Stop following me. If you're not here to take the blame for Diana, don't expect to see me again." I shrugged indifferently and pointed behind me, kindly reminding him, "Aren't you going to see your mom one last time? If you don't go now, you won't get another chance." But instead of reacting, Leo spat at my feet. "Stop talking nonsense. You're just saying all this to get my attention, right? Well, Chloe, let me tell you something, we're done. Didn't you get the memo?" I smiled, holding up our chat history in front of Leo. "I dumped you a long time ago. You're breaking up with me?" Leo gritted his teeth in disbelief. Just as he was about to say more, the police, alerted by the commotion, started walking toward us. Seeing this, Leo grabbed Diana and quickly fled the hospital. That day, Leo's father suffered a heart attack from his rage. Though he was saved, a stroke left him with a crooked mouth and paralyzed on one side of his body. He was admitted to the hospital, Out of a sense of duty, I decided to organize a funeral for Leo's mother. The night before, I sent messages to Leo's friends and family, but the responses were either "oh" or "okay," or other dismissive replies. Leo's best friend, Marco, even took the opportunity to lecture me. Sis-in-law, no offense, but taking it out on Leo's family isn't right. Clearly, Leo had already told everyone to disregard the funeral, but it didn't matter to me anymore. Whether Leo's mother's funeral was grand or not wasn't my concern. As long as my conscience was clear, that was enough. When the time came to view the body, only Marco showed up, and I wasn't surprised. But as soon as he saw Leo's mother's body, his eyes widened in shock. "What? What's going on here? Didn't Leo say you were just mad at him?" Immediately, he began contacting friends. Soon, the funeral hall was packed with people, but Leo was still nowhere to be found. After calling Leo 14 times, he finally answered with an irritated tone. "Hello, Marco. Why are you calling so much? What's going on?" Through the phone, I could hear Diana's heavy breathing. I couldn't help but think that these two were still like fire and gasoline, even at a time like this. With a sneer, I said, "Leo, just a kind reminder, your mom is being cremated today. If you don't show up soon, you'll miss it." To my surprise, Leo immediately flew into a rage when he heard my voice. "Great, Marco, I thought you were my brother, but you went to help her? Keep it up, and don't expect me to call you a brother anymore." "It's not sis-in-law, it's ex-girlfriend," I corrected him. "Chloe, I'm warning you one last time. If you keep spouting nonsense, I'll make sure you regret it. And if you're not coming to take the fall for Diana, don't bother me again." With that, he made a point to push Diana, making sure I could hear her giggling. Then he hung up. Once again, Leo had managed to lower my already low opinion of him. Chapter 5. That night, after organizing the funeral, I returned home completely exhausted. But when I opened the door to the villa, I saw Diana wearing my pajamas. Her eyes were full of mockery and pity. "Oh, Chloe, you're back? I've heard all about your story with Leo. Thank you for taking care of him during this time." I ignored her and glared at the slippers on her feet. My favorite limited edition pair, now crooked and mistreated by her. Anger boiled up inside me. Just as I was about to say something, she caught sight of the urn I was holding and suddenly screamed, "Chloe, what is that in your arms? You scared me." Leo, hearing the noise, poked his head out of the kitchen. When he saw me, his face instantly darkened, and he stormed over, spatula in hand. Before I could react, he smacked the urn out of my hands. "Chloe, you never stop, do you? You know Diana can't handle any stress, and you pull something like this. Who said you could come back? Get out!" I stared blankly at the ashes scattered on the floor. Then I looked up and laughed. "This is my house. If anyone's leaving, it's you two." Sensing the tension rising, Diana stepped in, pretending to play peacemaker. "Chloe, don't be angry. You must be misunderstanding. There's really nothing going on between Leo and me. He's just been kindly helping me regain my memory, and I've remembered a lot. I won't get in the way of your relationship." Did she really take me for a fool? Finding memories in bed, and yet she still had the nerve to claim there was nothing between them? I couldn't take it anymore and slapped Diana across the face, but it didn't feel like enough. As I raised my hand to slap her again, Leo grabbed my wrist and shoved me aside. "Chloe! Who gave you the right to hit Diana? Apologize to her right now." "Apologize?" I turned my gaze to Diana, who looked smug, and curled my lips into a smile. "Sure, I'll apologize right now." With that, I pulled out my phone and dialed the police. "Hello, police? I'd like to report a crime." Leo immediately snatched the phone from me and hung up. "Chloe, don't think these tricks are going to work on me." He tossed the phone back to me and started to drag Diana upstairs to the guest room, but I called out to stop him. "Where's my car?" Leo froze mid-step. "You're so annoying." Judging by how comfortably they had come back, they must have already taken care of my car in secret. Raising an eyebrow with interest, I asked, "No car? Then pay me for it." "Chloe, Don't push it. It's just a worthless car. Why should I pay you? Then get out of my house. And don't ever let me see you again, I said coldly, or I won't hesitate to call the police again. Leo was about to say something but swallowed his words at the mention of the police. Fine. We'll go. Who cares? Chloe, this time you're the one kicking me out. So don't come begging for me later. Diana, hearing this, stood up in a panic. I'll go change my clothes then. Don't bother. I sneered, giving her a disdainful glance. Keep the pajamas and the slippers. I don't want them anymore. They disgust me. Now take your things and get out. As they headed for the door, Leo couldn't resist throwing one last threat. Chloe, this time we're really done. I shrugged indifferently. Take care. Oh, by the way, the urn you knocked over? That was your mother's ashes. I stepped forward, shaking my head in mock pity and patted him on the shoulder. What a shame. You don't have a mother anymore. Chapter 6. Shut the hell up. Just as Leo stepped out of the villa, Marco walked into the yard. Sis-in-law, I'm here to pick up Auntie's ashes. I got in touch with the cemetery manager. After saying this, he noticed Leo holding Diana's hand. His expression soured, like he had just swallowed a fly. Ignoring the two of them, Marco walked straight up to me, smiling warmly. Sis-in-law, where are Auntie's ashes? Instinctively, I glanced at Leo. Leo frowned and grabbed Marco, pulling him aside. Marco? Didn't I tell you? If you keep siding with her and trying to fool me, we're not brothers anymore. Who the hell wants to be your brother? You didn't even attend your own mother's funeral. Being your brother has been the worst luck I've had in my lifetimes. If it weren't for how good Auntie was to me, I wouldn't bother with your family's mess. Leo's smile froze on his face. Did she pay you? You're putting on quite the performance. If something really happened to my mom, don't you think my dad would have told me? Do you want an Oscar for this? Screw your Oscar. Marco glared at him, furious. After a long pause, Marco let out a nonchalant "Oh." Oh, you mean your dad? He had a stroke. He's been paralyzed for a while. No idea if he gets smacked around by the caretakers when he messes his pants. Then Marco glanced back at me. I stepped aside, revealing the scattered ashes on the floor. You can't take them anymore. Leo scattered them. At my words, Leo rushed over, terrified, shouting, "Mom!" He reached out to gather the ashes, but a gust of wind blew them all away. No! He tried to catch them, but his hands grasped only air. He collapsed to the ground, muttering, "This can't be real. You're lying. This isn't happening. My mom couldn't have just died out of nowhere." "Oh, right," I said. "I forgot to tell you, your mom was killed by your precious Diana." "That's bullshit." Just as I finished speaking, Diana screamed at me. How could I not recognize Auntie? The person I hit was some old, blind woman. She was ugly and wrinkled. It couldn't have been Auntie. Stop trying to stir up trouble. But before I could respond, Marco suddenly spoke up, looking at Diana with pure disdain. "How did I never realize how ugly you are before?" He then glanced at Leo with contempt. This is what's got you so smitten that you don't even recognize your own mother? You must be very hungry." With that, he turned and walked out of the yard without looking back. Leo and Diana quickly chased after him. Chapter 7. The next time I saw Leo, it was already noon the next day. In just one night, he seemed to have aged 10 years, his hair streaked with gray, his cheeks sunken, even the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes had deepened. I thought that, after learning the truth, he might finally show some remorse. But to my surprise, the moment he saw me, he flew into a rage. His eyes were fierce, glaring at me with hatred. "Chloe! I talked to my dad. If you had just transferred my mom to a better hospital in time, she wouldn't have died. It's your fault she's dead." I couldn't help but think, like father, like son. Seeing him poised to come at me in a fit of rage, I quickly stepped back into the villa, hiding the baseball bat behind me. He sneered, his tongue pressing against his cheek. "Since you're heartless, don't blame me for being ruthless." Just then, a group of police officers entered the yard, led by Diana. "Officers, it's her!" Tears welled up in Diana's eyes as she pointed at me. Heartbroken. She's the one who killed Auntie with her car. Auntie was always so good to her. But just because she couldn't make it to the engagement party, Chloe cruelly ran her over. As she spoke, Diana broke down, crying hysterically. Not only was she pinning the blame on me, but she was implying it was intentional. She was trying to destroy me. But then Leo suddenly played the good guy. Officers, this really isn't Chloe's fault. She had too much to drink that day. I should have stopped her from driving. If anyone's to blame, arrest me. His words earned him a stern rebuke from the police. Nonsense. It's not up to you to decide who we arrest. You knowingly let your fiancée drive drunk, and now you're trying to cover it up. Do you even realize that's a crime, obstruction of justice? I really underestimated Leo. His tactic of sacrificing a pawn to protect the king was played flawlessly. Let's see what kind of storm they can stir up next. Soon, one of the police officers turned to a man dressed as a mechanic. Take a closer look. Is this the person who took the car to the scrapyard that day? I didn't need to guess. It was obvious Leo had already bribed him. But the man still pretended to carefully examine me before nodding. Yes, it was her. As soon as he spoke, Leo and Diana exchanged satisfied smiles. The investigating officer then addressed me. You're Chloe, the owner of the sky blue Porsche, correct? I nodded. The officer's tone softened a bit. You are suspected of causing a fatality while driving under the influence. Please come with us to the station for further investigation. Fortunately, I had prepared for this, or today would have ended very differently. I said, I'm willing to cooperate, but I suggest the officers listen to this recording before making any decisions. Suddenly, the frantic voices of Leo and Diana came from my phone speaker. Chloe, Diana and I have run into some trouble. It looks like we hit someone. Dear, I think I really killed someone. What do we do? Should we go back and check? Am I going to jail? I hit some blind old woman. She was ugly and old. There's no way it was Auntie. Stop trying to stir things up. Because of my job, I've always recorded my calls to keep track of client requests. Turns out, it saved me today. After a moment of silence, the officers turned their attention to Leo and Diana. At first, Leo tried to hold his ground, pointing at me and shouting, Officer, she's lying. The recording must have been faked using AI. But the police replied, We'll take it back for analysis to determine if it's real. At this point, Leo suddenly panicked, desperately trying to distance himself from Diana. Officer, it was her. She was the one who made me do it. Without her, I wouldn't have had the guts to cover it up, even if you gave me 100 chances. Really, it's all because of that wicked woman seducing me. Just moments ago, he didn't seem worried about being charged with obstruction. He must have thought that I, in order to protect myself, would drag him out of trouble too. But reality isn't a novel, and he didn't understand that the law treats everyone equally. Now that he's facing prison time, he's eager to kick Diana aside. How realistic. Diana, whom he had just thrown under the bus, stared in disbelief at first. Then, her face flushed with anger as she shouted, That's bullshit. I told you from the start I didn't even have a driver's license. Who insisted I try driving? And who swore they could fix everything and took me to destroy the car? Now you're trying to back out? No way. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. With that, Diana raised her hand like a schoolchild tattling to a teacher. Officer, I was the one driving that day. It was him who pressured me to do it. And he's the one who made me run after the accident. It was his idea to get Chloe to take the blame. He's also the one who drove me to destroy the car. After finishing her rant, Diana shot Leo a smug glare. Chapter 8. Leo was left speechless, and he turned to look at me. Then, he collapsed at my feet, sobbing uncontrollably. Chloe, I know I was wrong. I was terrible before. I wasn't even human. I failed you and your sincere love. Please, give me another chance. Let's start over. This time, I'll give you my whole heart. I don't want to go to jail. Oh, so, that's what he was really worried about, not going to jail. Seeing me frown, Leo seemed to find a glimmer of hope. He wiped his tears and forced a smile at me. I knew you'd have a way, right? As long as you're willing to spend the money to get me out. We won't need to buy a new villa after we get married. We'll just live in this old house. I don't mind. I couldn't help but laugh. What? Is he really trying to play the role of someone who refuses to suffer even the slightest inconvenience? Even the nearby police officers shook their heads in disbelief. Leo kept rambling. You won't even have to take care of my dad. Just put him in a fancy nursing home for a few grand a month and, before he could finish, I raised my hand and gestured for him to stop talking, smiling with amusement. I said, "What's this? You've read too many novels? Do you think I'm some all-powerful CEO who can fix everything? Did you really not understand the simple fact that the law catches up to everyone eventually? Did all those years of education go to waste?" Perfect. I clicked my tongue. You can go in and take some extra courses now. Originally, as a family member of the victim, Leo could have submitted a letter of forgiveness, allowing the court to reduce Diana's sentence. However, since he committed the crime of obstruction of justice, he lost that right. In the end, Diana was sentenced to 6 years in prison for manslaughter. Leo, due to the seriousness of his obstruction charge, was sentenced to 4 years in prison. In court, Diana laughed loudly, mockingly staring at Leo. Leo, enraged, ignored the bailiff's attempts to restrain him and got into a brawl with Diana. Leo deafened her in one ear. In turn, Diana blinded Leo in one eye. Both were given an additional 3 years for contempt of court and intentional harm. As for Leo's father, upon hearing the news, he suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and became a half-dead vegetable. Chapter 9. I walked out of the courthouse. The evening sun shone into my eyes. A gentle breeze brushed against my face. Suddenly, I remembered my parents, who died in a car accident when I was young. Before they passed, they told me one last thing: life must go on, and people must keep moving forward. I'm sure their spirits are watching over me. With that, I took my first step forward.